These oven-baked wings are garlicky, tangy, and a little sweet. And there's an amazing dipping sauce. You're gonna be completely hooked. Hey everyone, I'm Flo, Dude is behind the camera, and we're all about simple food, simple faith. I love chicken wings, but my go-to recipe is usually hot buffalo wings, and I don't even like spicy that much. But I do love chicken wings, and so this is not hot buffalo wings. This recipe uses fish sauce and garlic and lime. It's just gonna be amazing. Let me show you how. I'm starting with 2 pounds of chicken wings, and I've already pat them dry so that they can absorb more of the marinade. And I'm using, I'm gonna say 1 whole lime here. I would say half a lime, but our limes are not so juicy. So let's see how much I can get out of here. Yeah, I'm gonna use the whole lime for this. All right, so that's probably about 1.5 tablespoons, which is enough. Just gonna pour that right over the wings. About 1 tablespoon of sugar. The sugar is gonna help balance out the flavor. So we've got lime juice that's kind of tangy. I'm saving a little bit to actually sprinkle on top at the very end. And we're adding 2 tablespoons of fish sauce. Okay, I have a few cloves of garlic here. I'm gonna say maybe 3 cloves altogether. You can add more, of course. Whoops! The one that got away. And I'm just breaking the skin to more easily remove it. Right, just going to chop these up. Now this is like totally fresh garlic that I got from my aunt's garden, which is why they're different sizes. And this is all the garlic that I'm using for the recipe, so I'm just chopping it all up at once, so I don't have to do it again later. All right, that looks good. All right, I'm gonna use half of it here in the marinade. I'm just eyeballing it. And I'm just gonna mix it up by hand. And we're gonna let this marinate for about 20 minutes or so. I wouldn't let this marinate for more than an hour because of the lime juice. That will break down the fibers of the meat, and we don't want it to get mushy, so we're just going to marinate it for about 20 minutes to half an hour. While the chicken wings are marinating, we are going to preheat our oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, we're gonna use about half a cup of potato starch. I like using potato starch because it gives a crispier coating on the wings, unlike flour. And it's also gluten-free, so that's good for the gluten-free people. But if you don't have potato starch, you can use cornstarch. Not all cornstarch is gluten-free. Most of it is if it's pure cornstarch. I'm also going to use some parchment paper to line my pan. This just allows for an easier cleanup. I'm just going to lightly dredge the wings in the potato starch and line them up. I like to put the skin side down first so that when I flip them, they will crisp up nicely on the skin side. I always start with about half a cup of potato starch so that I can just add to it if I need more. Often I find that recipes that ask you to put a whole cup in, yeah, it's more convenient, but I end up wasting so much of it. So I just try to use up as much of it as I can before adding more. Okay, I've melted about 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm gonna add about 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. The reason why is because I like the flavor of butter, but it has a lower burn temperature than the oil. So I mix it together so that I can cook them longer without the butter burning. Right, so I'm just gonna baste these with the butter oil mixture. And if you want, you can just spray them with oil. I also have a video on how to do these in the air fryer. It's just sometimes I find that with the air fryer, it is a bit more work than just throwing it on a pan and sticking it in the oven. But of course, with the air fryer, you're gonna get a way crispier wing than baking it. But I think this is sufficient. I'm running out. Steal some from over here. So the reason why I only based one side is because, well, all the oil is going to drip to the bottom of the wing. And the fat from the wings are also going to produce some oil. So when I flip them, they'll already be oiled from the butter and the oil and the chicken fat, and it's going to give you a really crispy texture. I'm going to stick these in the oven for about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to flip them. Look, guys, I know it's still very pale, but you can see the crispiness on there already. Okay, better not move the skin off. Right, so flipping these over. Oh, look at that. Oh, I can smell the lime juice and the garlic. Yummy. I think the wings are actually cooked through at this point, but we want the crispiness. I'm going to move these down a little bit so that they're not being covered by the parchment paper. All right, going back into the oven for another 20 minutes. So for the last 20 minutes, while the chicken wings are finishing off in the oven, I'm going to get the rest of our ingredients ready to go. I've got 2 stalks of green onion, and we're just going to chop this up. This adds some freshness along with the cilantro I will be using. But of course, if you don't like cilantro, you can just use the green onions. Totally up to you. I also have a small bunch of cilantro. And again, if you don't like it, don't use it. If you like it, you can use more of it. Totally up to you. There's no real right and wrong here. Moving on to our dipping sauce. I was going to say use half a lime, but seeing as our lime is tiny and not much juice comes out, you might want to use a whole lime. Look at that. This is ridiculous. I don't know where to get juicy limes. This is what we get in Canada, and I believe they're from California. I don't even know if we can get a whole tablespoon out of this one lime. All right, maybe over a tablespoon. We're going to grind about a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. When you get this in the restaurant, usually the sauce is kind of gray because there's so much black pepper in it. You can see what I'm talking about right here. And we want fine ground pepper. So if you can adjust the coarseness of your grind, keep it fine. And just a tiny pinch of salt. And give that a stir. Now it's super intense, so you don't need much when you're serving it with your wings. Look at that. Oh, smells good. We're using our wok today. I'm going to turn it on to a medium just to melt the butter. So I'm using 2 tablespoons of butter. Just add it in right now. And then we're going to turn the heat down to low. All right. We're using unsalted butter here. And we are going to add a little bit of salt, but by using unsalted butter, you actually have control over your salt. I'm turning it down to low now, because we just want the butter to be melted. And I'm using my wok because I want to be able to toss the wings in here, but you can totally do this without a wok. You can just heat up the butter and the garlic in a small pot, transfer your wings to a mixing bowl, and add your garlic butter to that. So adding the garlic. That's the remaining garlic from what we chopped up earlier. We're just gonna let this cook for about 3 minutes, just until you can smell it. The butter is really infused with the garlic. We don't want the garlic to burn, so make sure you watch it and that it's actually on low heat. I'm also gonna add just a pinch of salt. Okay, turning off the heat, and my wings will be done shortly. All right, guys, check it out. Not bad for oven-baked wings. Look at how crispy they are. All right, all these wings are now going into that butter sauce. And give it a toss. Look at all that garlic. You can see it. It didn't seem like much, but now that you look at the chicken wings and they're covered in garlic pieces, okay, adding my green onions. Look at how yummy that looks. And my cilantro. Okay, let's give this another toss. The herbs add a freshness to it. And adding that green just makes them look so much more appetizing, don't you think? All right, so pile it onto a plate. Remember that sugar we had left over? We're just going to use a little bit to season the wings because they do have a little bit of sweetness to them from this added sugar. And if you don't want to add it, you don't have to. Just add something different. I'm just going to scoop the rest of the green onion and cilantro. All right, are you all ready for?
So these Phnom Penh wings were made famous by Phnom Penh restaurant down in Chinatown. And we love going there, but A, it's gotten more expensive to dine out, and B, when you can make something that is close-ish on many fronts to the OG product, like, why not? My favorite part of the wings are the, what do you call these things?
Flats.
Flats. And I like to debone them because I'm a lazy eater. So I'll put in the extra work so I can just pop it in my mouth. So I'm going to debone it. There's one side of the wing that is a little bit skinnier than the other, and I'm gonna tear that off. Just need to rotate it a little bit, and boom, there's one. And there's some cartilage here that I personally don't like to eat, but my son does. And
well, don't feed him that after.
Why not? He doesn't know. And just, it will release the bone from the other side. Do a little rotation. And there we have it. Boneless Phnom Penh chicken wings. Into the sauce we go. Little swim here. And then guys, can I double dip? I'm gonna double dip on the other side. It's not double dipping if it's clean on the other side. Crispy skin, tanginess, the lime pepper sauce, and let's not forget about one of the stars of the show, garlic. And you can rock even more garlic. It's gonna be just an explosion of flavors. You guys gotta do it.
Awesome, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
When I'm making a big batch, I just throw it all in the oven. If I have time and making a smaller batch, I'll use the air fryer, which I have to say does give you a way crispier wing using the same method here. This recipe is definitely going into the new cookbook, but in the meantime, you can find it on FLO'S.com.